Alrighty. Hi, everyone. I am here with the fabulous, accomplished Dr. Marlena Sherman.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you for being here with us. So today we are going to be discussing student loan debt, in particular, Dr. Sherman's student loan debt and the effects that it's had on her life. So stay tuned. Okay.
Want me to hold?
No, I just awkwardly asked if you wanted to say anything.
I'm just excited to be here and answer the questions. I think this is going to be, I feel it in my spirit.
Oh, wow.
But this is opening up channels for women like myself who have our degrees, and now there's a gap there in our finances.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay, so our first question is, in one word, Dr. Sherman, how does your student loan debt make you feel?
Sad.
Sad. Yeah. Would you like to expand on that?
Sure. I feel sad because I've come so far, and now I feel like I have a weight, and that sadness is that because I don't know what to do with it, and all the avenues that I've been checking out to get some kind of forgiveness or not even forgiveness. I'd be willing to barter. I'll do this for other women who my avatars are. I'll do this, and then in exchange for that, you forgive some of my debt.
Yeah.
Or no, how can I work in the community to, and it's sad to say it, pay it off, but that's what I'm looking for. To forgive it, pay it off.
Yeah.
So I don't have that weight of knowing it's sitting there.
I imagine it's almost like a dark cloud following you.
Absolutely. So you get to the top of the mountain, with the workload and becoming everything I've gone through, the master's, the doctoral program, doing the dissertation, and you graduate and you cross the stage, and you just kind of see the debt sitting there. Yeah. I've arrived, and I'm very excited about that because it was a lot of work, and my big why was my grandmother, because she didn't have an opportunity to get an education, so it was pushed in my family. Go to school, get a good job, and I've always had good jobs, and I've always, I got the education, and now I have this big weight.
Thank you. Okay. So did you have to take out loans to attend school?
I did. I was at that place in my life. I didn't have the resources to just go to school and pay as I go. Actually, when I went to for my master's, I was on medical leave.
Wow.
And I was going for my master's in theology. So I have two bachelors, and one was in theology, and I was getting my master's in theology. And I got sick and actually coded on the operating table. Spent 80 days in a coma.
Wow.
I spent 6 months trying to get back on my rehabilitation, back on my feet. And then at the end of that, my courses it had been a 5-year journey up to that point, going to school. Well, they started expiring.
Oh, my
goodness. And so I was like, my classes are expiring. What do I do?
What do you do?
And then I went back to work. And then I was like, I wasn't really able to go back into my management roles. I had to become an individual.
Because you'd been gone for so long.
Yeah, and I just wasn't physically up to being in, because as a manager, as a leader, it's very demanding.
Of course.
And at that point, I wasn't up to it physically or mentally. And so I had to take an individual contributor role, which paid a lot less, to be honest. So at that time, and then I shortly after that, I got laid off. And so gosh. I'm like, but I really wanted my master's.
Of course.
And so I started looking at companies that would pay tuition reimbursement.
Yeah.
But the jobs weren't coming. And so I called one day, and I'm a CTU graduate. Okay. And I called there, and the gentleman said, well, why wait? Just take out a student loan, and get your degree. And then once you're working, then you can pay it back. And then it made sense at the time, of course. I wanted the degree.
Of course.
But you know how fast that 18 months went by.
Of course. Then you're hit. Also, would you mind giving us a brief rundown of your degrees and what they're in as well?
Sure, absolutely. So my original degree was in alcohol studies, chemical dependency.
Okay.
So many years ago. So I'm a LA Mission College graduate. And then I was like, okay, I wanted to teach because I have love for people. And I'm one of those people, instead of just telling you how to do something, I love to show you how to do it.
Nice.
And so then the next degree became, it's an IDS, so interdisciplinary studies degree. Because I wanted to understand how people think and how their social skills and what their traditions are.
Okay.
So I have that from Cal State Dominguez Hills.
Nice.
And then the second bachelor's, again, it started out as being a master's, and our master's in theology, and our school went out of business. It was a private college, and it went out of business.
Goodness.
And so the next, there was another Christian university that came in and said, hey, we'll certify you. You have to do this work, do this body of work. We'll certify you. But we're not going to give you master's. We're going to give you another bachelor's. So of course I was at the end of my program.
And of course you took out a loan.
No, that I was still paying. I paid cash.
Okay, you paid
myself
cash. Okay.
Working, paying, and so it was fine. I took their so I have a theology bachelor's.
Oh, okay.
But it helped me understand who I serve, why I serve, what I do, and then it also gave me an understanding how people think from their faith aspect.
Right.
So and that's from Advantage College. And then that's when all this stuff happened with my health, and I'm sitting around and I'm going, really? Every job I was seeing was looking for an MBA or looking for a master's, and I was like, God, I don't have that, and I don't like. I'm a Virgo, and I don't like being told I can't have something. You can't have that job because you don't have this, and so I'm wired that way. So I was like, oh. Gotta get this semester.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you're looking at $50,000, for a master's, and it's like, what do you do? And when the gentleman said, well, hey, get the master's and then figure
just
out
pay it back.
Pay it back. Figure out how to pay it back. Well, you'll get a job that'll allow you to pay it back. Well, I did get a job, but when you still factor in still having to run a home and
of course,
I have 4 handsome sons and 2
goodness.
dogs, and we're living life. There's very little that you have to really pay back, and you're looking at $1,900 to $1,700 a month to pay back, and
that's a mortgage.
My income didn't go up, that much a month. So you're like, And then, so I finished the master's program, and I'm very proud. I have MBA. My emphasis is human resource management from Colorado Technical University.
Wow. Okay.
But
so accomplished.
Yes, thank you. But my dream was really doctoral degree. Dr. Marlena was always that. Again, my grandmother had a 4th grade education, and she had to leave school to work in the fields with her family.
Wow.
So growing up, she was always get that education. It's something that will stick with you when other things will leave you. You always have that to fall back on you.
Yeah.
Even though you're married, you can be still independent when you have your education. And I followed that model. There was no entrepreneurial model in our home at the time. It was follow that model, and so I did. And so that doctoral degree, she had passed on, but I still want to honor her legacy. By getting it. So she was my big why that just kept pushing me. And then the same thing, I thought, well, I really wanted to be an attorney since I was a kid, so I was going to go to law school.
Yeah.
And so I did, and I paid out of pocket for a year for law school. And because I was in law school, my MBA debt was on hold.
Oh my gosh.
So it was on hold. I guess the interest accrues, but it's on hold. So I go, I get to the end of the first year of law school, and it just wasn't for me. It wasn't where I really wanted to spend. It's a part-time program, so there was another 3 years to do that, and I was like, I just didn't feel it. It's one of those things that I believe that everyone should explore what your heart's desires are, because you may find out it's not really what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
But I was sitting at home on the rare times that I watch TV, and there was a commercial from CTU, which
that's where you got your MBA.
Yeah, and I was like, all I remember what they said, but at the end they said, "Are you in?" And I was like, "Wow, I'm in. I'm in. I'm gonna call." So I called, and I got this lovely lady, MJ, and she walked me through the process. And literally 3 weeks later, I was sitting in Denver.
Oh, wow.
So I'd gone again, student loan route. I'm sitting in Denver. The the professors are telling us who welcome us there for the symposium and first day, and they're talking to us, and they're talking to my heart. So I knew I was in the right place.
Right.
But then again, how fast 3 years go by. That it just zoomed by.
You're out.
And then it's all, hey, remember us? We're the $150,000 you owe now. We're coming,
to collect.
And it just, fortunately right now everything's on hold because I wouldn't have it because I have been unemployed since October 31st of 2019.
Wow.
And as I was starting to look to get back in to employment, the corporate world, if you will, COVID hit. And so, if it wasn't for a contract here or a contract there or working that way, there would be no income, coming. And I pick up a contract through the business. So personally, I have no, and then, it's funny because EDD, I guess there was so much fraud. Now the people who really could use it, like myself, can't get it because now they can't identify me, and so I have to go through an appeal process to get that back money.
Oh my God!
And what was due to me because they stopped it for me because they couldn't identify me, but it's so backed up in their appeal process. They don't know when they're going to just keep watching your mail for a letter that'll tell you, and that's for the back, kind of thing. So I'm blessed. Yeah. Because I'm still moving forward, and and I don't like to use the word try because I'm doing it. It's just not manifesting yet. I'm in that overnight sensation mode. Right. The iceberg is building at the bottom. Because Dr. Marlena, Purpose and Passion, it's going to go forward. Yeah. Because it's women like myself,
of course,
who are doing the right thing. We're moving forward. We're believing. We're putting a hand to the fire.
Absolutely.
We're no longer stuck. We've gotten our degrees and we're moving forward, but we're still building. Yeah. And then someone will, in 20 years probably look up and go, "Oh, it was overnight." Nah, it was a long journey.
No, it was, you just see the tip of the iceberg.
You see the tip.
Absolutely. Which ties into our next question. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you had to do it all over again, would you do it?
Yes.
You would? Okay.
I would.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I probably would have paid on, as I was going through school, at least started paying on the interest.
Yeah. Ugh.
You're so, at the time, I was so excited, I should say, to get my degree.
Of course.
To be able to have access to go to school and get this done. And still work, full-time and have a life.
Oh, okay. So while you were in school, you were able to provide for yourself and your kids.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Still work full-time and actually funny, hopping on planes. I was working for a company at the time where we had 15 locations. And I had to hop on planes and be all across North America for these companies, and thank God for my laptop.
Yeah.
I have to work all day and set up. And I went on a personal vacation with my good friend Tanya to London, and we were in France, and we went to London, France, and Amsterdam. And so when we were in Paris, she was upstairs sleeping, and I was down in the lobby on a live chat because our school had live chat. So you do what you have to do, and you pay your dues. And the sad part of it, on the back end, you get no help. And would be nice again. I'm willing to. I'm not. I guess because I'm not an official teacher, so I'm not in the classroom. Right. My loan can't be forgiven. It's my understanding of what I've been researching because I've researched it. And I'm not looking again. I don't need all of it to be forgiven. A portion And then the second piece is, let's do this, exchange.
Yeah.
I'll train, teach.
Yeah.
I have a wealth of, here in the South Dakota Valley, we're entrepreneurs, my husband and I.
Mm-hmm.
We've had restaurants, travel business,
Wow.
movie location business. So we've done very well as entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
I'll teach that. I'll train that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm heavily involved in multi-level marketing because I think the leadership is important.
Yeah.
So I'll teach that. I'll train that. I'm willing to give something
Yeah.
to get some of that debt forgiven or removed or paid down or paid off through working.
So you mentioned that you were still able to pursue entrepreneurial
Mm-hmm.
ventures.
Yes.
How have your student loan debts affected your personal and financial goals?
Well, I can't invest the way I'd like to invest in
Okay.
those businesses.
I see.
So we had the bar and grill during the majority of the time with me going to school and having this debt.
Yeah.
We had to we eventually sold the business. I should say give it up. We eventually sold the business
Mm-hmm.
because it took a lot. It took a lot financially to keep that going. And 3 years, if you can make it 3 years in a restaurant, it was a bar and grill. So it's very, very hard. So we just didn't have the extra. I had to pick up the slack many times. And that debt hurts to have that, there. Like I said, I get sad about it. I don't go into depression about it.
That's good.
But I think about it.
Yeah.
I did the victory lap only to be at the end instead of handed, a reward. I've been handed the debt, after doing the victory laps.
You got your diploma, but in exchange, you also got the debt.
Yeah.
It was a trade-off.
Trade-off.
Okay. How have your student loans impacted your credit score and your home ownership?
Well, that's the thing with if we were not in the holding pattern, if you will, I wouldn't be able to pay it. So
My goodness.
And it's not something you can bankrupt.
Oh,
No,
really?
you can't bankrupt student debt.
This is
taxes,
insidious.
Taxes and student debts don't go away. They follow you forever. So you can't bankrupt it. You can't. Not that I don't want to even have to go to that.
Yeah.
But it definitely would be affecting me. So fortunately, like I said, when I got laid off from my job full time, they were able to put it in. I think they call it a forbearance state.
Okay.
And then what happened is, when COVID happened, it's right now they're just it's frozen.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah.
It's going to pop back up. And
Of
I know
course.
I know they do have programs to further defer or forbear, but who wants to keep the interest?
Yeah.
'Cause
it's
calculate. It's yeah.
It doesn't stop.
It's like tick, 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 and it's there. And again, to say, I win if I die. Who wants to die over, a debt?
Oh.
And again,
my
it's not because I want someone to just say, "Oh, let me just give it to her." No, I want something
You'll work
that
for
work
it.
for it. Yeah, I'll work for it. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, it would be nice if somebody wants to say, "I'll forgive her for it." Well, I'll forgive her for it. Give me a project.
Right.
You want to forgive it? I'll take it. But yeah, in reality, it would be nice to be able to have some type of exchange.
Absolutely.
For it.
In your opinion, what is the most predatory aspect of student loan debts?
Knowing that we don't have legacy money. We don't have, someone, we're not tied in, majority of us come from working class, middle, what used to be the middle class, So we don't have the resources. There's not like we can just say, hey, mom or dad, I want to go to this college, write me a check. We don't have access to that.
Yeah, we don't have access from it, and then we're put in a position in a bind where we can't create it. The possibility is also limited. Yeah.
And I remember way back when, leaving high school, I think I'm coming up on 38 years being out of high school, and I really wanted to go to USC. That was like my dream. And so it was easy. It wasn't easy to get got in, but then it was, okay, how are you going to pay for this? And because my grandparents were my guardians and they owned a home, it was like they needed to take a loan against their house for me to go to school. or get student loans. And so back then it was like, well, I don't want a student loan, and I'm not going to. And my grandfather was like, I like a good job, but that's not happening, you know. So again, no access to the finances to go, and I think I did get a scholarship. It wasn't a full ride.
Yeah.
You know, man, I wasn't academic and I wasn't in sports, so it was.
Hey.
It was pay as you go or don't go.
And
It was, you know, and I'm a firm believer everything happens the way it should. And so the route that I went, I paid for it for the most part. Yeah. So I took it serious. You know, wasn't at school, you know, majoring in dominology. You know,
exactly.
That type of thing. So.
And what you said is so interesting, and it ties back to like the commodification of education. Mm-hmm. Either you give up like athleticism, your academics, and your time, your money. Yep. You have to give up something, or in the long run, your time, and you're tied to this debt that's just ever present all the time.
True.
Okay, what would canceling student loan debt mean to you, and how would it change your life?
Ooh. Well, first of all, that mental pressure that's always there to figure out a way to get rid of it, to eliminate it, would be gone. And as we know, stress is like the number one killer for Black women. Mm-hmm. You know, I fortunately think I have no diabetes, no high blood pressure, none of that. Good. But because I use other methods, not to. Yeah. But just if I had to sit and think about the student loan and how I'm going to, you know, live the rest of my life, because I will. I mean, I'm 56. Let me young, so I'll be 57 in August. I have, you know, if you look up, thank you. You know, if you go by man's timetable, I may not have much time left, and the rest of my life, I'm going to be paying on this debt. And literally, when I go, it's going to go with me, you know. Or my estate's going to have to now pay for it. You know,
they never stop.
It never stops. So it is really literally death. You can't bankrupt it, and so you take it with you until you go. So someone, you know, your estate picks it up at that point.
Oh my God.
So, yeah.
Okay. So my second to last question, which I think we've kind of touched on with our first question, is how has student loan debts affected your happiness?
Well, and that's it. I believe I create my own happiness. Mm-hmm. However, that is something that's taxing because it sits there and because again, like I said earlier, I'm a Virgo. Yeah. You know, that whole, you know, liking to be in control and have order. Yeah. And it's something that I can't control. And I'm trying to find ways to control it. And not that it's getting bigger, but how do I find an avenue? And as soon as I saw your message, I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested in that. Because I've been talking to God about it. Like, God, how do I get rid of this? I don't want to be the borrower. I want to be the lender. I want to have that man mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's where I believe creating my happiness will come through finding ways. And not only for me, and it was, even every degree I have, I know I accomplished it, it's for someone else's benefit. You know, how do I'm just a vessel, and I want to be able to pour into someone else's
That's
stuff.
Beautiful.
And so if I can figure out a way, by coming here today and telling my story, or talking to someone, or someone hearing and saying, hey, I can help with that. Yeah. Yes, I'll take part of that. That's part of my journey. But it's really now, how do I pour it into someone else's cup?
Absolutely.
And so they don't have to be, you know, sitting. I believe in life. I've gone through the death experience because I did code, right? So going through that experience is to be on the end of someone who's going through life and they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get over. I don't know how to get around. Yeah. But I see Dr. Marlena, and she's just like me. Yeah. And she did it. So I want to hear about that. And I know that I don't have to be on the ledge and jump because there's another way out. Yeah. And so this is about another way out for someone else.
So you use your experience, like you said, as a vessel, as an opportunity for others. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's very selfless and commendable. You know, most people are more cynical like that.
I meet them every day.
Yeah.
and even though we're wearing masks,
Yeah.
these days I smile behind the mask
Yeah.
because I know I'm that vessel that's going to be able to pour into their cup and then make their day better.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And our final question. Thank you so much.
Sure.
You're a great interviewer.
Yeah.
You're so congenial. Were you like a pageant girl or something?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, and you wouldn't believe it, was very introverted.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
I'm more behind the scenes, but after going through
what
I've been through, it's
Absolutely.
like, okay, you have a voice, you have to utilize
Absolutely.
it, and you can't be behind the scenes anymore. And I'm like, okay,
You
and
have
I accept
duty.
the assignment.
Yeah,
and I'm going
period.
forward.
And our last question, how much do you owe in student loan debt?
$150,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit more. I was trying to look it up real quick on the website, but it's about 150, somewhere between 100. I'm gonna say 150 and 161 because it's been a year now. so
$10,000 of interest.
Yeah, I'm
is
gonna
included?
say probably so. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was trying to. I know the last time I took a look at it, it was 150 something, and the interest was still going up, and then I just, to be honest, it's sort of out of sight, out of mind right now. And when we finally, I think June is actually the month, maybe July or something. I'll get back in tune with it and see what happens from there. But I believe what I've been praying for is starting to manifest.
Yeah.
So I'm here having this conversation. So it kind of firing me up to say, okay, I got to figure out look into something different.
Absolutely.
Maybe there are some organizations out there that can utilize. I mean, I'm a servant leader and I train. Mm-hmm. So does the company needs some servant leader training? Because I think a lot of that the corporate world could use. Maybe I'll come in your corporation and do that for you, and you pay toward my student debt.
Yeah.
So
In exchange.
Yeah, it's an exchange.
Yeah, and I feel like more times than not, critics of forgiving student loan debt are like, oh, you just wanted the easy way out. And when I meet with people, they're like, no, I'll work for it. Just make it reasonable. I can't dedicate my life to paying this debt. Yeah.
When I started on my associate's degree and my bachelor's, college was free. You pay for your books, and then somewhere along the way it became a business. That's how I look at it. It became a business. So now then you had to pay for X amount of units and all that. And again, I'm not looking for anyone to ever give me anything. I'll work. I have a good work ethic, but it just doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, no, it's not at all.
The playing field is just not level. It just doesn't seem fair.
No, not at all.
But we'll do it. We will do it because it's a means to an end.
Yeah.
But that end comes really quick, and then we carry the pressure of that. And in my world, I don't want to take a bankruptcy either.
Yeah.
If I could get rid of it, I wouldn't want to take a bankruptcy to get rid of it.
Exactly.
When I'm willing and able to exchange, paying it off.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Sherman, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me here. Just what you're doing, I just say keep doing because it's needed.
Yeah. Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. That was great.